So let's start with Luckin Coffee. Luckin Cafe, as they are known in China, is a new retail concept. And new retail basically is a concept that was started by Alibaba and has been picked up by many more companies, where on and offline seamlessly integrate with each other. And Luckin is one of the most famous one, or Luckin Coffee is one of the most famous one. And I want to start by showing you one of their early adverts to give you an idea about the branding, which is actually quite interesting. So let's start with that.
Luckin Coffee， 这一杯谁不爱？
谁不爱？
So the slogan that you see is 这一杯谁不爱, which means this cup, who doesn't love it? So everybody loves this cup. And I was really stunned by the positioning and the branding when they introduced their brand, because it was totally different from what you would expect of a coffee brand. Normally you have dark colors, a lot of brown, maybe green if you think of Starbucks. But this whole branding gave me much more of a feeling of maybe dairy products or maybe chocolate. But it was very refreshing. What was also refreshing is that besides the whole imaging of like a magical product that you saw in the advert just now, they used two very well-known film stars, movie stars, Tang and Zhang. And especially Tang is a very interesting one because she used to play in a very controversial movie called Lost Caution. So she's a very well-known and maybe even slightly controversial person in China. So that attracted a lot of attention. And during the launch of Luckin in the early 2018s, you could see posters like these all over the place, especially in a lot of elevators, in office buildings, because young people and office personnel, office staff were like their primary target group. The second thing which was quite interesting about Luckin Coffee was their pricing. If you compared it to Starbucks, which you'll see on the left here, then the pricing of the products like an Americano, a latte or a cappuccino at Luckin Coffee was actually quite a lot cheaper, almost like 25-30% cheaper. The reason for this is a large part of the cost price for Starbucks comes from the rent. They normally are located in quite expensive locations, in shopping malls or in expensive shopping streets. If you ever go to Shanghai, you can visit the Starbucks Roastery, which is an enormous location of Starbucks. And those are normally quite expensive retail locations. What Luckin did instead is they went for much more sort of out of the way and therefore cheaper renting spaces. So in this case, you'll see a Luckin Coffee that I visited on one of our tour groups, where this is basically the whole store. On the left is where they, so the left window is where they prepare the coffee, and the right part, that's the only part where customers can come in. And what you see in the right photo, those are couriers that are there to pick up the coffee that's been prepared. Because Luckin basically is much more about fast convenience and picking up your coffee that you've already ordered online through an app than Starbucks. Starbucks is much more positioned as the third place, as they say. So a third place where your work is your second place, your home is your first place, and Starbucks is the third place where you spend a lot of time with your friends. You can hang out, you can lounge. That's not what Luckin is about. Luckin is about basically without much hassle picking up your coffee. They do delivery, which I'll show you in a minute, but the largest part of their the revenue comes from people that pick up the coffee. So, like I said, most of the locations are quite small. There is one exception. They have a couple of locations that are a Luckin Coffee Relax, which you see here in these pictures. And in those cases, you have a couple of seats and maybe some benches where people can relax. This specific one is in Beijing. But as you see here in this graph, most of the locations that Luckin has are pickup stores. There's a couple of relax stores and there's some delivery kitchens, and those delivery kitchens are sort of out of the way. You cannot go there as a consumer. They are basically dark kitchens from where they deliver the goods. But the delivery staff of SF Express, which you can see on the right, also picks up orders at the pickup stores and the relax stores. So basically, as a consumer in the app, you decide if you want to order it and pick it up yourself, or if you want to have it delivered. And the majority is picked up in the stores themselves. As you can see, they started in late 2017, early 2018. They grew very quickly. Their strategy was mostly about trying to overtake Starbucks, trying to create as much as possible, as many as possible locations, so they could actually have a higher penetration and make it easier to reach the consumers. So they overtook Starbucks. So basically the whole thing with Luckin works through an app. What you see here is their specific app. There's lots of things that you can do in it. The first time you download this app and you sign up, you get a hongbao, a red envelope. And a red envelope is something that is very cultural to China. It's something that people give to each other at weddings. Your children and your grandchildren get a red envelope during Chinese New Year. People get their end year bonus sometimes in a red envelope because that's considered to be lucky money if you wrap it in the color red. So when you sign up, you get sort of like 100 renminbi, which is about 13-14 euro, credit for your first cups of coffee. And what you see on the right, there's a member get member scheme. If you invite somebody else to also download the app and join the program, then you get 20 renminbi. So you get at least one extra cup of coffee. And then that person, when they download the app, they also get the 100 renminbi hongbao, the red envelope. They have basically the same thing inside WeChat. So what you can do in China, you can build your own app, your standalone app, but you can also create a mini program, which is basically an app that runs within the WeChat ecosystem. That's the one that I normally use because you don't need to download any specific app. It's just inside WeChat. And you see the branding return in these couple of screenshots. On the left you see the main menu. In the middle, that's the menu of all of the drinks. And at that time, all of these drinks were either 27, 24 or 21 renminbi. But the interesting thing is that in the app you can also buy coupons. And the coupons are what they call in China Ma Yi Song Yi. So you can buy one coupon and get one for free. So this coffee was already less expensive than Starbucks, but if you bought coupons, and you could buy up to 10, maybe even more coupons, and you would get another 10 for free. So you could get another 50% discount. By doing this, you already paid for those coupons and they were stored inside your app. So of course you wanted to use those. So by doing that Ma Yi Song Yi, that buy one get one for free, they created automatic retention because people wanted to use the money that they already spent, and they would come back to Luckin again and again. So the way it works, if you go to that menu that you see in the middle and you put something in your basket, then you check out and you either pay with the coupons that you purchased before, or what you do is you pay by mobile payment, by either WeChat or by Alipay, the two main mobile payment solutions in China. And after you've done that, you get this QR code on your screen, and that's refers to your specific personal order. In this case, it's order 228 for this specific store. By the time, because what you can do is you can either go to a store, but you cannot order with the barista. You cannot order with the staff in the store. They are only preparing your coffee. You need to order in the app. So you can do that while you're shopping, and if you know that there's a Luckin Coffee location close by, you can do that while shopping. And or you can do it in the store, but when your coffee is ready, you will get a text message, an SMS text message. That's the second picture that you see. And when you go into the store, your coffee will be waiting for you there with the number on it. In this case, it's a different order that I took these pictures of. But when you come in the store and there's a picture on the right, you see many different orders, and those little receipts will have the same number on it. Now you've already paid for your coffee, so what you do is you hold your telephone with a QR code in front of the QR code reader that you see on the right, in the picture on the right. It will bleep, and it will tell the staff that you've basically proven that you've paid for your coffee, and then you take your coffee and go away. So it's very fast. Unlike at Starbucks, there's no standing in line, no waiting for your coffee. So that's one of the advantages, the convenience that Luckin offers. So they grew extremely fast as far as locations are concerned, and in May 2019 they had an IPO, and they collected $561 million. People were very interested in investing in this company, especially because they were positioned so much as a Starbucks killer. And the coffee market in China is really a market that can still grow a lot, because the average Chinese person only drinks about 5 cups of coffee per year. So there's still a lot of growth possible. What Luckin did the second half of last year, they announced some new plans to, besides the stores and besides the delivery that they do, to also have these self-service machines, which would also work through the app. And they also launched a plan to have coffee machines and vending machines that would have their own products, but also products of third parties that they would service. To be able to make this new investment, they went and had another funding round. They collected another $865 million US dollars in early January. And as you might have heard, then sort of the shit hit the fan, because Muddy Waters released a research report by an anonymous party that sort of proved that Luckin had committed fraud. And they actually in April admitted to this specific fraud. They basically admitted to having made up about $300 million of their 2019 revenue. As you can imagine, the stock came crashing down after that, and it's been very low, but it seems to be picking up slightly. The government in China is investigating them. There's been several people that have been fired and blamed. You never know exactly who's behind this. But seemingly what they had done, because this investigative party had sent people into the Luckin stores to actually count orders and see if the number of orders that were taken, and they had also been filming it, were actually matching the figures that Luckin was producing. And they found out that a lot of that just didn't match up. And like I said, about 1/3 of the revenue of 2013 was revenue that hadn't actually taken place. But they also are starting to do some very strange things. So they opened up an e-commerce store where they sell all kinds of products, from hygiene and tissue products to all kinds of stuff, which is something that does not seem to be extremely related to their own business. They also sell their own merchandise. But normally when a company in China is starting to sell stuff through their own e-commerce shop, which is not related to their main business, that's a sign of trouble, as if they didn't have enough trouble yet. So that's basically the situation now. The consumer, on the other hand, they still love Luckin. They love the discounts. They love the fast either delivery or the pickup service. There's probably people that prefer Starbucks, but even with 1/3 of the earnings, the revenue of 2019 made up, I think they were still growing quite fast, but in a very asset-heavy way.